Yeah, I have it.
Cool. Advantage of modern economy, recessions are inevitable for structurally economic crises have been the norm, not the exception for the past decade, only developing resilient fiscal systems to prevent extinction. Only 22 economic growth crisis that revealed disaster directly COVID years 2008 and 11 immigration rate, dislocation crisis, normal inception, we are stumbled for debt, viruses, every accident of technology, bizarre limits crisis, system, art, industry, people, the first relentless leaders, according borders, competition, members, trust. So debt systems are going to support weakened stability. It's not done just by fiscal policy, it's enforced to global crisis, about security, food prices, diplomacy systems, prevents to be points, and now response leading to extension. They can provide buffer. Second is situationally best models. And uncontrollable factors prove there's decline now, gains 10.5. Use econ, walk and line anything. Conversion to recession, models have written process, MBA, most of watch reviews, calls with employment, consumer spending. Apple model said better than even chance, recession would be called. Welcome to new factors, those ugly, must say econ, teetering on the edge. I think Mr. Skills, resource, spending, enormous ass historian, should be spiking, but savings up limited. Now, Smith McCarthy, fiscal bad omen for next shot down, already good chance that recession may hit. Any of those other factors could make it worse, and those recessions produce rampant unemployment by excluding primary workers from the labor force that guarantees prolonged slow growth. Don't test 22 at covering employment ratio, but painfully slow to recession, risk of fall, position difference like period, risk rent, leaving 1970, last price participation of women made up for that. Works not see wage increases, the explained decline participation shifts not seen wide participation base below pre-recession levels, participation over have been rising. Trust attained 1.4 will be outlined before starting regulation, then recent countries are higher. Participation happening with labor markets must be next, so shifts to why Americans have to be withdrawn, likely Americans are voluntarily leaving, and for those not wanting a job decline, diverse labor conditions have been very little of this, and we also thought transitions a large decline in complete self-interest, a late new effort works lead to pursue education for the household socializing. The this argument that insufficient demand insufficient jobs, so labor can surgical low, which the best we just keep demand low, hinders growth, the best cycle stagnation is inevitable, could be a long-lasting trend. The plan is the only solution. One is counter-cyclical flexibility. The plan prevents economic shocks from escalating to major crises. Sumada 22. FGJ influences economic efficiency, creating training opportunities. Overbuilding reports that resource allocation, flexibility markets, which are force limited economy respond to external shocks. Some industries, foreign declines, manufacturing, finance, FGJ, split worker training opportunities. UBI increases poverty and inequality, circular addiction, practical poverty, FGJ increases productivity, vote inflation, spend accommodate dislocated workers. But if you keep actively before, despite FGJ offers some poverty reduction, FGJ sort employees negatively affected by recession, rehire these employees. 2 is stagnation. The plan is targeted job creation, solves declining labor force participation and demand to resolve slow growth. Task 22. Stagnation problem is sufficient demand versus slow growth, cost of investment, cost of demand, realization, stagnation, and quality sufficient depending. Problem is not demographic, robust slow recovery, efficient work creation, stagnation, field, liberal versus as probable, first. We return to stagnation to BI, gross inflation, output, result, stagnation, job creation, bring workers back to the force without fueling inflation, and secular stagnation is a crisis accelerant, hides the risk of great power conflict, and every true national risk. Oppenheimer 21. Secular stagnation, environmental to find a future of physical capacity, activization, ready growth, realization, weakening global issues, we can discuss our fund, warming, news, innovation, full of use, full of decline, versus growth, risk, decline, and sensation, the fighting challenge of our times, rising inequality, lower growth, the border, different sustained, possible, less elevation, toxic, American leadership, risk, collaboration with both such physical help, risk, responsibility, World War III, made it Eastern, conceived of war, Korea, SS1, heightened escalation for the war's edge and fears of avoiding institutions and conflicts, expanded nationalism, which was conflict, which was no political development, new space, proliferation, American was declining from the conversations, by leverage, consequences, officer, treasury, jobless, extendation, conflict, promoted breach, returns, spirals of low press, accident, legal, confident, interest, India, China, East, Middle East, rebels, confidence, breach, dominance, Iran, ISIS, Russia, competition, nukes, collapse of control, NPD, accelerated arms race, and extinction is inevitable unless the U.S. avoids economic decline. Has 20. Isolationism is not an option to go bold. The question is simply the bandwidth resources. There's a real danger on the beach, cost wars, cost wars through world treatment of the world, and unravel chemical and problems on our own. Global health, climate change, by ourselves, proliferation, got a partner with a domestic base. The UK people back to the ability of commercial challenges like health, Russia, Iran, and Korea. The plan avoids all negative economic effects. Macroeconomic simulations prove, for 18, macroeconomic simulations. The per 10-year period is where data wrestling consumption may labor woes, which is 4 million person jobs will come from unemployed 5 million real labor force, GDP of profit trillion, price of wage, collective inflation, is significant, piece of 0.74 percentage points, possible 0.9 percentage points economy, just higher wages, tax revenue, risk increase, deficit modest, which impacts 0.13% GDP, reduction poverty, carbon incarceration, impact on budgetary far less than the spending decline, tax revenues rise, and thus the plan. The United States government should increase fiscal redistribution in the United States, adopting federal jobs guarantee. Advantage 2 is right to jobs, 2 snares, first to worker power, only a job guarantee enables widespread unionization, but providing leverage to workers. Gustavo 22. Job to work for expenses, price of value, or campus conditions, have low likelihood of receiving guarantee, structural leverage workers like option walk off, and knowing other security options strike companies to grow. Overall, LFPR increase in social wages, or social capacity, but organized by gas unionization possibility, or union selling legs, or political aims should be increase social leverage, should also ensure some increase of homelessness, limit the fear of growth between classes, less income, can weaken potential collective action, and Biden will inevitably push democratic norms globally, but lack of unity is next top power necessary to do so. At the year 23, Biden's periods should be used to both liberal democracies are essential to democracy, comes from reunion, this walks in, manufacturers more complicated by market. Modest native efforts, units like mobilist, which are smaller organizations, studies put to different client in the West. Important the US to use cloud power of workers and rights with connection with movements around the globe, practice solidarity, emphasis bearing on advanced democratic rights against boxing, closer to regimes, central clear software dividends, contrast between working conditions, and be alright for the US approach resonated with a lot of countries, and democracy solves a litany of existential risks. Battlefield 23. The telling the states about recession is bad at dealing with disasters and more like major wars by problem recession, and this is a information based architecture, lack of prestigious and ability to start totalitarians, less cooperative, lack of transparency, limits agreements, having been punches and quality what's part by tech, which is about lucky and future tax just age aspects of different surveillance, emergency powers, totalitarian role in administration, as well as distortion means destruction, which led to destruction means potential, and the current human rights framework are being recalibrated to fit China's interests. Only the abstracts back. Griffiths 23, trying to recalibrate the AR system, implicit and rights, which have become machinery, just work of the sovereignty, but pressure. Those weaken the system and must rest in the business authorities. We are investments with trade association by China after one China's diplomatic position of work with confidence is necessary support Beijing to itself, even with the interest of side violations on chain transactions with the Euro population and this agenda constitute no place for criticism, language places to own source legitimacy's economic record, and that immediately causes extinction in offense, liberalism, wing 19, the PRC challenge to us, the promise to replace national order security, some overall spaces when it goes to combat inequality, epidemics, terrorism, also open consolidation is they couldn't believe that feeling was civilization, the West opinion was following the direction of civilization, useful phase war, and they definitely indeed paradox of a city world, and let's check American position, peace, rest, and PRC. Second is food, the plan solves both internal links, one is production, the plan that solves food crisis by implementing a host of sustainable practices to Geneva. 22, the changing matches the natural space fortunes, abolition, so Jesus, key repair priorities, and agriculture, recycling, save the oceans, wetlands, which carbon, fishing, and farm restoration, the provide production of host communities, suffer employment, the Gigi would employ. 2 is imports, lackluster FDA staffing means imports go unexpected, but the plan solves. 123, federal regulators cannot keep up with inspections, but it is supposed to be behind FDA is expenses of overseas manufacturers drop FDA knowledge, limited resource with possible energy has been sold big improvements, the better heading nerves running FDA's inflation process, and food imports are likely target for agro-terrorism, introducing pathogens, then collapsing food supplies at Ebola 21, group intentionally introduce IPD country by trading, affect the lapse supplies which groups of tempting for international impact and having to introduce agro-terrorism has a high effect at low cost, easily introducing place separate germs by affecting chemical H's are easily available, H's cause cost 100% which must recruit pathogens easily present resistant, cause of disease, associated risk, it could be exploding, we get the regular agro-terrorism for 2035 which comes up, creating vaccine resistant pathogens, these can cause serious damage, and the way psychological warfare citizens groups can develop size for creating chemical weapons that can be used, and the agro-terrorism and engineered pathogens cause extinction, Watch 19, deliver update by engineered pathogens spread chaos, but everything including kind of mission speed, reaches again, even though the planet consists of the attack may be difficult, if it's by taking the scale, finding the gene and an engineer, biotech, if the future humidity, nothing else, and so that not most available would be a bioweapon, and food insecurity goes nuclear, Crib 22, human spotted for food, for 20,000 years, food and less stress, farming jobs, somewhat complex, and small government failures to divorce, such tsunamis, reach up the world, high risk, food, real confident future, which price nuclear war, and a job guarantee is key, the FDA capability, COP20, we have large scale problems, all manner implement, we need to be happy much things to tackle in COVID, there require public service, missing public health, guard strong public sector too, for the place that your systems, public service has been neglected, job creation is not complicated, you want to have an active staff at FDA.
Are you good? Yeah. Wait. What's the internal link to solving agri-terror? Do you need to win production or just monitoring of imports?
No, agri-terror is about monitoring of imports.
Okay, so what's the impact to production?
The food collapse scenario.
Yeah, for food collapse, we need to win both internal links. For agri-terror, we only need to win monitoring.
What piece of evidence have you read that says U.S. exports are sufficient to solve global food insecurity, or reverse causal evidence that collapse of U.S. exports would collapse global food?
I think the Kirchner card is pretty good on how U.S. agriculture is unsustainable. Like the one
Yeah, I mean, it's good about why U.S. agriculture is not very good. I don't see a single card in the 1AC that says U.S. ag being bad means that every other country doesn't get food.
Well, it's your burden to read cards that other people.
Wait. It's our burden to make your advantage an argument?
No, we've read cards that says U.S. agriculture is unsustainable. You have not
What
read
card have you read that says that
for other countries?
Anish, what card have you read that says that U.S. unsustainability triggers global food insecurity?
Well, I mean, we think it's like a pretty clear claim that the U.S. is a massive food exporter for the world.
Really?
Export, like
You don't think you need to read evidence for that? You think you can just assert that?
Well, I think it's like pretty obvious. Yes, like.
Okay, I guess.
Also,
what countries do you think go nuclear from food insecurity?
The crib card isolates things like. Well, we have not isolated any of the 1AC. We think it's a general claim about.
Well, I mean, like, there are only so many nuclear countries. I'm curious which ones you think are so reliant on the U.S. for food, they would literally nuke another country to get it.
Well, it's not that illogical as it would out to be. Countries without
I'm asking you
have
what
unrest, social instability, Middle East, Asia.
What
like
countries
Europe,
in the Middle East and Asia?
Like, do you want me to name the countries? Like
the
Iran,
nuclear states that you think would go nuclear over food, yes.
Every nuclear state in the Middle East. Like,
France,
we
UK,
think we made a broad claim.
Iran, like that's it.
like France, UK, like
What if I
The
say the
France
Middle East? Like
okay.
This is around the world. You can like.
yeah. So like,
Okay, sure.
I've isolated several hotspots.
Wait,
Like the one you see has made a general claim.
Why
about
do
food
you
wars.
think the most likely target of a food insecure state is another nuclear power?
Because of countries having instability and social
So, okay,
unrest.
so like Iran runs out of food, they would like nuke the U.S. to get food.
No,
instead of
Sai,
nuking
you're
somebody
presuming
else?
like these states are rational. The crib card lists secondary
You're
factors
presuming
such as
that Iran
government
would nuke
failures,
the
civil war,
Sid,
refugee
Sid,
tsunamis.
Sid. This is a yes or no question. Your scenario is Iran would nuke
No,
the
it
U.S.
is not
You
Iran.
can't keep calling it
Why
just
have you
Iran.
just like isolated this to Iran? It's
'Cause
every
you just said-
country. It's
Because
every
the
nuclear
one
country.
has made a general
Every
claim
nuclear
about food wars. You can't
No.
isolate it to just Iran. We think countries all over the
Economy,
world
it,
depend on
economy
US
advantage.
agriculture.
Economy advantage. You have to win just that you increase demand in order to win that you stabilize the economy, or that you increase production as well.
The demand is one important internal link for the app. We think stagnating wages are also another problem.
Is demand
Like you
sufficient
can
to
tie it
solve
down
the
to
economy?
one specific thing. Yes, we think supplying demand. So do you want to say?
Like demand is one thing we need to solve. There are definitely other internal links to why the economy. Can
So
be
it's
stagnant.
necessary but not sufficient.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. The democracy scenario, obviously like January 6th, tons of corruption in the U.S. Why does like unions being cool matter? This card is literally from like the head of the Labor Department of the
The
government.
Gostala card is really good. It says structural leverage for workers. It's an impact filter for democracy.
No,
It's all
I'm
things
talking
like
about the
voting rights,
internal. I'm talking about the
organizations.
internal link card. The thorough
Yeah.
evidence says that unions are key to democracy. It's by the head of the U.S. Department of Labor.
And you're just
Like, why do
ignoring the card
why do you
above
think
that's like
credible?
we are unions are key to democracy as per Gostala.
Okay, 1 and 2 is sent during process. It's 6, then advantage 1, advantage 2.
Just got. Let me get that.
Corey, you good? Great. Hey, Mars.
Yeah.
Okay.
First off, topic on term violation, redistribution requires taxation and spending the penalty transfer trials, burning up total to achieve redistribution comes with tax that makes expenditure accounts transfers public goes to collecting tax making expenditure change primary redistribution and the post tax with secondary redistribution accounts for impact taxation and spending vote neg. One is limits there's an infinite amount of transferring mechanisms exploding the neg research burden second is ground taxes ensure controversy and huge large change with the status quo with key to neg ground vantage counterclaim. The United States government should pass and protecting the right to organize, act, ban some state law control, and expand FDA funding with the explicit purpose of additional hiring for food inspector products, solve tons of existing unionization that are all causes of the app, and because their social advantage of employees that help them squash unions before they exist. Right, what's going on? Proactive short bargaining powers, averaging collective bargaining agreement employers, and drag the possible bargaining device, establishing and mediation arbitration, proactive requires employers to current daily bargaining practice, and burdens employees from declaring by pass organized by employees, and maintaining wages amendments or bargaining apply employees and responsibility for proactive in strong joint employers tend to proactive limit span on second activity, proactive limits employees from further realizing workers proactive. The right says state right to work laws, weaken unions right law. Work laws creates every right problem. 22 solves agricultural and food wars. 23 solves agriculture. That's the one you see Wong of today's spec. The plan X is specified by the federal branch and carries out the plan they did not. This key to aging economists, the links to trade off and politics said ridiculous. Yeah, anarchism kind of. Okay. The one is invested over the resolution of marginalized social rights in the South state. They failed model guarantees war, environmental destruction, climate change, and exchange vote for autonomous collective organizing and a politics question they refuse to answer given by the state of Hollywood's going on. We live in a failed system result of a division divided race being misforming acceptance money is a measure of value and equality fashion and individual teams are humans are faced to know how to get out of the question into the state. A state to live in a poverty does not work. The state is not the capital way the capital state is journey by capital state divide promoting human state market solution by state results of the taking from us holders and taking a radical different but says that is never not the hard other. I think the state relating to like about answers are gonna be posing in a case the same new question because the meetings never just were quality question different robotics and asking inspiration different societies apathies and despair councils and the Curtis Mills organization are based not true. States can only give their is doing things themselves collectively rating will be our voter not take back from the state responsibility for life. Court curbing accountability. The United States Congress should unanimously pass a resolution that does not require federal jobs guarantee curbing that's ensure compliance to deter strike down on Biden's Indian block 20. After it was over proposals score top voters in courts, programs court to reset outside pressure no as the Congress truly like laws in these court change historically court gets smashed about it after the game with 6 conservative votes and curve for the pure county judges Roberts they see Roberts and Roberts stakes that seriously I'm going to say conservative majority chose the state of coffee 22. Courts observe doing movement rapidly and mental. And the embassy court is considering of vast space much mental. And speaking about Robert's common barriers and the challenge of one by the based universe. A very confined restrictions not allow them to address issues of conversation, pandemic, and economy. The admin state prevents extinction. Color 21. We live in a world of disease, but we got natural accidents back attacks on system and climate and water system, all which long have single message away causing deadly pandemic administrative and device mitigating vulnerability and strategy preparedness for a disaster blackout terror attacks, the drone expert coordination finding across cities and systems of war sustain a life in the ministry of international function welfare, economic national powers and safe psychoanalysis kit. The one is structured by the German object we never had. Economic security is always undermined with unconscious drive for insecurity, which causes policy and anxiety voting to erase the drive. That's the only path towards authentication being on 13. Knowledge and progress and consciousness emerges out of an capacity to knowing is under my constant knowledge defeats the products. And knowledge doesn't want to get access to the only woman not seeking when it surprises them. And once he's adapted to the other obstacle repetitions and lost her. And then away the very way saving on notification with the bears. Search on words belongs to good aims. Redistribution of one power of the repetition undergoes transformation on opposite of attitude by adopting the death right misformed politics and posted in alternative creating development organizations. Curating problem was organized itself around lost rather looking to over coming lost to the economy advantage. First, no leadership of Act 5 was 20. The world remained peaceful, the U.S. has first one is double spending half and our latest 20 Africa's peacefully has become magic greater civility. Existing place situation has been minus and also use both the motives for the stability. Rooted go to borders, no back and citizen, economic development, independence, the institution, democracy, and service for the world. Will continue to peace to turn hedges unstable, claiming the privacy of China causes misconduct, trade off cooperation, and this resolve a slew of excellent without strength to view. The U.S. always under military model of its many opportunity, influencing terms, but it's still stable to use and double the dangerous search, American privacy, and keep the peace and no nation voice. Force of bringing the red single by time to reallocate resources to the allied components will reduce common time is based on average amount of time and requiring the keep it as race the U.S. and most part of the worst misconduct in there. Ever the U.S. to deter the skill of all reactions to make more common consensus and security results provocation China. A visual pollution aging population and reduce in these men. If it's a message word about Beijing benefits of holding orders, every trade for nation reasonable have no resolution either structure for competition model. Undermine a voice within China for moderation rate the danger. Outside American pricing never resued restore rate for home release. A combination when wheels go is the channel competition across the world and climate change and single a more prevalent economic source of government increase change common. Eliminate options for government dealing external pursuing privacy VCV China causes counterbalancing and mental as difference of one. Premise will improve counterproductive data under privacy use as declared self directed to China and get a bit of resources to use seven direct China's right now as a big price with it and then increase raising odds at school to harassment come from more China and currently there's a small share of available military research China that spend 4% of GDP on defense work. I was a larger problem efforts to outpace Beijing will turn account of response China shift the distribution of harmony currency self money into China to imagine every US ever always in US and security slow growth last year peaceful transition great power parity boosting growth causes a violent clean power transition government's failure for 18. Peace will change possible hegemon voluntarily sees role and do challenge positive agenda like the with the ground hegemon is high confidence and change inevitability because lacks motor economic abilities to resist or women and economic powers resisting our ability to just distribution condition for the hegemon. Three says peace will change over the hegemon or resist other rates will change hegemonic spring planet or at a disadvantage of economic power like conclude and then harmonization inevitable economic growth can reach intelligent behind hegemon law. Leadership pockets and lack resource or economic growth that might conclude resistance a resistance in the future of the hegemon need to access as assess the economic risk to commit these resources such as the hegemon civil war a danger of breaking the bank then that cost medium too hot. China is not revisions beginning 19. Do you have a Chinese intention on the court order slide as telling the U.S. predictions will see the economic safer and non-formal nationalities and those rest America's own markets U.S. as their half of Mexico colonies and Philippines and Hawaii but peace is going to coexist with shared benefits and national China as government is she has heralded as champion national order globalization China China's playing the game even is taking a better role right to work advantage. First duties are high now, Colgan 21. And then we can come into the time of negotiation, which is having a strike of both tens of thousands of dollars on strike and newfound portal son of a shooters. Is it start comments, late seconds, employees have been in the bottom line. As strike profits for essential workers, while local companies are fighting employees of multiple phases and they've been able to everything while you service workers and they give a comment so that you can comment and they can walk up and point to the offer. And then it's better training quality like Washington on the side, not like out of my political parties on the side, each union. What is the Japanese structure going to need support? Heavy movement number 2, January 6th, Thumbs 3, Mercado, James 3, democracy, solve cooperation, January 19. Pond, Wiggles, hundreds of studies board. Heavy speaking of coalition and dialogue, I was in modeling of the say that's what we're seeing. Germany even never known evident markets more peaceful data, more factors including democracy, progress terms, basic system with and how I development could of course markets more like the money store war, domestic community lines, economy no, studies markets 5, panel 12, international agriculture 1 no, 1 see evidence says that US regulations can be out of rules about international equipment, 6 bio, weapons fail, pink 18. Biological agents are also due to naturals and more seen, and if say violence and engaging trade off the world. As the one attack which no one is ever going to do complex trade, by hygiene and everything we're advanced to make it easier public, about extras to divide and about extra ABR and develop external habits and inevitability and negativity inflate 7 turn high food prices, third opium production in Afghanistan, key to defeating the Taliban, Hishki 11. Public cultivation production of having trafficking right, and major funding to Taliban forms of action want to grow poppy, but it's the only thing they can make it make the whole growth into or detriment Absorbent about people with food prices, performance getting a more for grains of market discourage public all the way to higher food prices down. Good up one more time. The Taliban empowers Pakistani extremists in impact war attacks in the US and loose nukes 121. Islamabad pursued nukes and native terrorism take over side Pakistani extremists seize control. Radicals and the military attackers and enable terrorists to target India. Flashpoint Pakistani doctrine provided arms help improve them in favor of Pakistan entirely different magnitude nukes. Pakistan is 150 extremists. Pakistan and parallel is given China's role in Pakistan's civil war his identity everywhere. Terror strikes into the globe bears 19. Nuke terror spark full scale nuclear war government attack terrorist Hong Kong region by companies like Scandinavian nuclear machine reaction energy company nuclear company going to see that invoke every nuclear state to entomb the entire speed atmosphere of effect on a considered reduce the murder and the entire planet a hotspot. Statistics is proof food wars close 16. Research is now linked food insecurity company linked as in our countries face food price stocks without companies that implement such as that segments of private companies and companies as strong institutions that help. That takes I have 30 seconds. Indo-Pak war causes change in traffic 19. India and Pakistan exchange including global nuclear war, which into the planet lower rocket and argue smoke and blocks sunlight leading to drop of temperature below the ice age, warning a growing season and shortening food supply and goes into place now more radiation as the global payment fall. The cut of water include effects of the strands on anywhere and the inflating existing change related competition for resources. Okay, we'll send out this. Yep.
Where's the? Are you sending out the other?
Yeah, I'm sending out the other one.
Okay. Food defense.
Okay. Both are set.
Good.
Yeah.
Status of all.
Conditional.
Can you take points?
Fine.
Cool. What are net benefits?
Advantage counterplan, hedge turn, curvings internal. Yeah.
Okay. Anarchy K, why on earth would the state listen to organizing that says, hey, you should collapse?
Well, we don't think we think the alternative operates on the debate level and the material level. The Holloway evidence says that on the debate level, rejecting that the state is the only solution to our problems, kind of.
Okay, I'm
As
asking
an
about the material
emancipatory
level.
effect
On the
and,
material level, why would the state listen to autonomous groups?
Well, the Holloway evidence cites empirics, the Kurdish councilism, the Zapatistas movement, which we think could both
Yeah.
provide.
Okay,
a
these are
model.
small, local,
Well,
unstable
yeah, I mean-
states. In the US, we have a huge military. Why would we just
Well, no, I
listen
mean,
and
at a
say,
certain
collapse
level,
ourselves?
the government doesn't really have a choice but to listen to small movements. We
Why?
think small
Like,
small
small
movements
movements-
kind of escape the purview of
Are they gonna
punishment by the
bomb the
state.
government?
Well, we
what are
think
small
that
movements?
the model of a nation state is also inherently unsustainable, which proves that they cannot maintain dominance.
Okay,
over-
let's talk about size first. When
Like
the
organ.
state doesn't have a choice, why not?
Well, the state is inherently unsustainable. That's the claim of the Holloway evidence.
Why would they not cling and still try to make it?
Well, the state draws its power from the masses, essentially. If people engage in small-scale local organizing that is explicitly anti-state, it's not like the state has power independent of that order.
Okay. Vantage counterplan. What do you define as unsustainable agriculture?
Whatever your
Yeah.
vague Geneva card defines as
Any,
sustainable agriculture.
Forms of agriculture that contribute to environmental destruction.
Well,
Geneva just lists a bunch of random issues with
the one you see
agriculture.
has
Those
made a
are
claim
all-
about runoff also killing agriculture.
And that
How
would
do you solve
probably
that?
that would be regulated. So any
Okay.
practices
Well, what
by
part of the plank does
agricultural
that? The
companies-
plank is ban unsustainable
Yeah. So
agriculture.
any agricultural practices that contribute to runoff would be prohibited under the counter.
Okay. The PRO, what
Yeah.
is it?
It's an act in Congress right now that would give workers more rights, provide
what
for
rights?
more unionization. The Reinhardt evidence says it would give them more bargaining power, protect them from employer practices that limit their ability.
Bargaining power, how does it do that?
One example is that it literally makes it illegal to permanently replace strikers, which means that the fear of termination internal link that you're going to go for on unions does not apply because this obviously resolves that.
Okay. High food prices turn. Why is Afghanistan instability not dumped?
Well, we think that food prices are a unique internal link. If
Wait, why?
if the Tracy makes
Afghanistan's in
arguments.
shambles right now. Why did that not cause?
Well, the Bolton evidence is also a more recent, and it says that right now.
No, it's from 2021. We've had Afghanistan instability after that. Why did that not cause nuclear war?
Well, I mean, if you want to make this argument, the choice will read cards in the block.
Okay, I'm asking you right now, what is the argument for why Afghanistan instability did not cause Pakistani extremists to already rise?
it's not like the internal link about high food prices is like the key internal link.
Wait, can I ask a question? What does it mean to threaten the judiciary?
Yeah, we threaten to restrict their power. Thing that would look like packing the court, restricting what cases they can rule on,
Yeah,
like
that's-
various like forms of court curbing.
No problem. Something like that. Seven. Can I just use yours?
Yeah.
That's taller. Okay, everyone get back?
No, give me hold on.
Yeah.
Is there a limit for-
Yeah, I was.
Oh yeah, I'm good for.
Oh yeah, econ. Right to jobs. Key taxes. Advantage counter plan. A-spec. NRTK. Court curbing counter plan. Psycho. Actually, take a second. Okay, 2 seconds used. 9:59. MBA. Cora. Prolonged stagnation, decimates economic security, the base of America's power costs every global hotspot to globe and locks in a host of interlocking factors such as pandemics, proliferation, cyberattacks. That was all the Oppenheimer evidence and every impact was dropped. Now hedge 1 and 2, 1 for group, all of them hedge. Bad 1, no link. A, global governance costs that we should cooperate with powers like China and use diplomacy to solve emerging threats with statements and multipolarity goods of otherwise Oppenheimer says prolif and hotspots go nuclear. 2, diplomacy, effective diplomacy with rising powers like China curbs a host of emerging threats like AI disease, proliferation. Diplomacies have comparably more effective than retrenchment, especially given that pursuit is inevitable. 3, if they win, the other costs of sustainability listed in their source card, then hedge collapse is inevitable. We don't link to the turn 4, it's inevitable. Pursuit of military superiority is going to happen in such quotes. Try or die for effectiveness. Right 20. Retrenchment last domestic support 7 out of 10 Americans with material superiority makes the U.S. affair. As becomes superior, China, Russia will benefit and allies will turn domestic politics would go following debate because the U.S. also creating uncertainty in investments calculation. 4, sustainability, solving slow growth ensures global governance is sustainable. They had to concede the Oppenheimer evidence to get the turn, but external factors make it sustainable. Also, I can bear 22. Many believe the U.S. is slowly losing power. The U.S. is not declining or deeper influence and continue to make the U.S. predominantly 2% power will persist. U.S. power draws upon ideas moving into modern defense order, multilateral accurate security Pakistan, Russia hospitable to blocks, space influence and autocracy offers sufficient approach to material global system. China, Russia current foreign policy rooted in nostalgia. U.S. capabilities roles in balance of power continues to matter for appeal of ideas. U.S. is not truly declining critical architects using existing order has taken the U.S. remaining active in the order continues to reinforce power. U.S. order third way between anarchy hierarchy that is delivering to benefit for the geography developing unequal as balance of global coalitions the shape of global multicultural based connected networks of influence use as staying powerful despite periodic failures. 5, hedge good retrenchment causes authoritarian experience of influence and transition worse than go nuclear. Chronic 20. Autocratic powers in countries, so I look at how they treat the people from its neighboring countries, trying to take status from Muslim minorities, re-educating on much small states, the U.S. could very well try to get power in World War II, result of declines, British failing powers fight, predator, rising powers fight, large conflicts, power transition, the catastrophic result, leadership could forestall this may be necessary for peace and stability. Now the China stuff. 1, turned right, and Chronic say only hedge and effective to turn stop China from expanding and initiating war. 2, no. China war going 22. There are certain places keeping the peace around prosperity is strong enough for the U.S. Chinese government access to almost non-nuclear water or bilateral diplomacy after breakdown engagement for almost first every global issue for conflict. China states don't have to feel China. The U.S. are connected to institutions that have a stake in priority conflict. The integrating for the economy makes any war unwinnable. And thinking that China, U.S. United States, and sure economic social all those barriers should work to prevent conflict if they don't listen to the military deterrence both of the nuclear arms or well second country capabilities laws and care holds our 2 countries that will not be able to escape one another have to seek accommodation. Now it is revisionist LNZ 20. Rising party seeks technology dominance by the liberal China's movement in China. Policy 2008 accomplishment and fast forward Commission for creating Taiwan or right. China says to behave the ICS and creating Taiwan region power to be regional hegemony. ICS plays a vital role. China says with non-launch China affirms 6 elimination festival of matter the UNSSG. Actually, maritime presence and responsibility for arrogance against law considered decision is called and expectation China's control to be balanced, bullying, especially the Philippines. Advantage 2, 1 and 2, 1. Yes, it's not higher. Evidence is 2 years new and sense that those unions are ineffective absent the plan because people eventually go back to work out of fear of being fired. 1 and 2, no thumpers labor first. Revivalist democratic and allows button to push democratic norms not normally with a boost of soft power. 1 and 3, yes, cooperation norms speed does not assume authoritarian states enables less cooperation cause accidental. 24, resolve internationally be monitored imports which means even if military starts in an external country we stop from spreading to the US. 1 and 5 bioweapons do work. They drop the wise evidence is uniquely easy to infect food and things like burnout and technological barriers. Don't check 26. Yes, internal link. Go. 21. Imagine saw activities people give us videos that almost harvest for the procedures been directed to your analysis for the video so 6 lower yields and global security over so aggressive but also for the meta analysis actually SL levels of major yield benefits increase probably global food security and social need extended capacity retain the water space social resilient human variable use to store water crucial for the US 7 no defenses no secondary factors like refugee flows now high food prices 1 food wars there natural accident revolving sustainable farming that's great evidence 2 no like food prices start in the Middle East and determined by more regional agricultural weather patterns 3 no Taliban internally diamond 21 safe haven not like the just authoritarianism were loaded in my favorite previous factors of 9/11 and leadership Pakistan called Al Qaeda. Little reason to risk returning US forces. 4 Taliban's already banned opium Rasmussen. 21. Taliban leaders in Indonesia accept control from top company opium non policy invest Taliban's farmers cannot oppose Taliban people though their costs saffron prohibition down by 90%. Now dropped to democracy LAO and democracy LAO that was done above T. We meet a function plans funded by taxes or lower taxes to cover the deficit, B plans to back alternates of underlegal pollution competition, 2 counter fiscal redistributions, total change in GMBA tax or transfers, Jesuit 21. Jesuit 17. Fiscal distribution, of course, not one piece person, gene reduction, to come to participate by tax, participate social redistribution, is more product use for the factor, tax, and code for the implicit value, performance, breakdown is pension persistent, describe more fiscal redistribution, 3 prefer a precision, but Jesuit isn't the conscious to hold distribution, conclude after you pick center, both and negative remove, 4 minutes and 1 18, 3 tax, C states deficit spending is the only way to beat it, 4 no neg offense, we have 2 after topic, but econ, politics, and K, check all offense, father, card size, redistribution of fiscal redistribution proves VR more precise, reasonability, anything else causes substance card out, because students go for T over substance advantage. 1 proves 1 all cause and shows like 2 prove the counterplan justified because multiplying counterplans are working never predictable between less negative paradox. 3 prove the counter and any call multiplying condos of burdens on all straight term screws for contrary RT WCB and or contract acquisition cost. Notice if some office because the negative will kid dispo. So actually go back to T scratch reasonability. Now deficits at the top, A stagnation, only job guarantee, creates a buffer against future investment for cheating 2% increase the aggregate demands rate, not just be the most absolute plan. Work is stagnant job security units next to America's ability for democratic model CFD only FD stacking laws and monitoring now the proactive fails A feature 1. Proactivity is for work is eliminated when a contracting most company reclass by their schedule work when if contract is not defectible work every single year goes fell directly contract 80 15 include cost employees will be left in the dust now the ban act plank fails banning on stimuli act does not actually scale up production causes short-term food wars during the transition the fund FTA plank fails the FTA needs workers not funding but it worse it links to all the net benefits because it solves the economy a spec counter to the USG 1 arbitrariness reconspect annual level of branch agency it improves infinite regress that next after to cross examination checks 3 resolution basically the only firm method 4 we turn to agents upper counterplans are bad but we obviously defend the link to agent decides anarchy. 1 way to access the cable guns also to the cable we get prone to that issues fairness and conflict not unreasonably burning the with different large part structures that we didn't claim as being universally good to skip that 3 perms A do bunch to the F and non-restricted components of the all to the F and embrace collective to organizing except in the area of FTA funding embrace the F and embrace collective organizing except in the area of the military force sovereign powers and execute 14. 4. The state is here to say call giving out content is crucial in any college government given so 1 expected 60% major size to perform some kind of decision and 1 2 become the every much unity for bearing on the fact giving you seems to be admin say college events appear engaging to power 5 to reject not yet permanent activity to makes it impossible the absence they can fear away all offense 6 opposition feels the boy 16 what tactics will secure about terminating never opposition against the rallies when he feels should be selected with F15 goals cross bonds in the 1950s Cuba marked the card at Cuba now the impacts are wrong A the turn failed the assholes of the head to jump in the case B environmentally cards take half a spot again if the state is the wrong social system magnus corporate power and some regs are better than none. Court curbing. 1 would do both to the counterplay through the counterplay that we can speak sequencing but not time frame should refer to the future. Round 8. Should look to the future considering possible future events 4 perm other issues the counterplays are touching and functioning competitive slots and infinite full of non-germane that benefits the fairness and education 5 cannot solve A uniform clear policies and encourage workers to strike down certain counterplay causes workers to doubt its durability B credit counterplay makes it look as the US is fortunate to take an action on rights ability America's ability to predict success of the democratic model is the one to keep the Roar and Griffin evidence now curbings unconstitutional the courts cannot rule on state budget rules 16. Judicial meeting also around the implementation of the country and appropriate decided to be released without acting the control state budget fails. Unexecuted agreement unless the legal strength become capable of resolution by court absence including legal say there's no curbing impact court. I shall say now with the wave of recent liberal ruling cycle. 1. Cross-supply framework from the other K. 2. Don't link A backwards. You don't have a death trap. You want to prevent war rather than cause it. B. No fear. We're not afraid of other parts. We're rather recognize that they're pure. Do the F. Non-conclusive parts of the alt. 4. Reject psycho. A. Scientific use proven abundant much. 10. Over the past 30 years, psychoanalysis, quite like different science, different psychology, person, public culture, psychoanalysis, bogus science, practice, specify, research psychoanalysis, minutes, the gap, from first, second, control group, anti-publicity, more factor, chemistry, this 1 years, psychoanalysis, not scientific, single, lab marketing, useful, you select students and have others, so make it hard to test and testable, 1 salary, psychology rate, second, contact with scientific psychology, which is driving B, non-false published, nobody disprove with theory, you should risk speech on it. Now, some of the alt fails, A, yeah, only physical differences always be hardware. If they're right, they can't solve building cycle, analytical drives. Alright, I'm over.
Condo interest with JISPA.
Yep.
Okay, hedge bad. The right evidence says that the reason the retrenchment fails is because of public opinion. Past 2 presidents have both pursued retrenchment. Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. Trump was the most isolationist president.
Okay, I mean,
for that.
like small scale flashpoints of retrenchment, so it's like pulling out of Afghanistan does not equal like Biden or Trump being happy to see the world in China.
I mean, why? Why not? Like,
What do you mean why?
like both of those presidents pursued like a policy in which they like downscaled
Yes,
US primacy globally.
that's what I just said. Just because they're willing to like terminate like one war in Afghanistan, they're not willing to see the larger like theater to China.
Okay. Sustainability. The one I see Oppenheimer evidence says that U.S. hegemony is declining now. Ikeberry says it's not. Which one is it?
Yeah, Oppenheimer says it's declining now because of a gap in.
But it does say it is declining now, and then you've read a 2AC card on sustainability that says U.S. hegemony will never decline.
Yeah, well, these are external factors that sort of say everything.
So
in the
none of
world
those
is
are relevant.
invested.
None of those are relevant for like the direction of sustainability.
No, you didn't let me finish what I was saying. The Eichenberry card says that everybody sort of invested in the success of the U.S., but the Oppenheimer card says that like economic superiority is the only thing that makes hedge effective.
Okay. The no link argument about global governance. Where does the Haas evidence say that U.S. primacy ensures U.S. and China cooperate?
Well, no, Haas is like we can't tackle problems on our own. In fact, like another part of this Haas card says we should actually make like.
How is this a credible no link argument? We made the claim that
No,
U.S.
okay,
primacy.
so like you're gonna like make a bunch of claims that like retrenchment solves better. We will say that because pursuit is inevitable, like diplomacy
so
and strategic
pursuit
partnerships with
inevitable.
China is the more effective way.
This is a pursuit
engaging.
inevitable argument then. Okay.
No, it's not a pursuit. I was just explaining like.
Okay, go ahead. You can explain.
Like it's another argument that diplomacy and strategic partnerships with China is a more effective model than just full scale.
But the Haas evidence does not say that U.S. primacy ensures U.S. and China will cooperate more, correct?
No, Haas is like
Okay.
we need the bandwidth and resources to engage, and that engagement will come in the forms of like,
The
sustainable
pro-act deficit is about independent contractors. Why are those key to unions?
One, we like disagree with the framing that it's only independent contractors. The bottom of the card says similar regulations failed elsewhere. It lists things like California, lists things.
Why do those regulations fail? What are the warrants of this evidence?
Yeah, I mean the top card is about contractors, has a really disaster for
Right.
the workforce because independent contracting is what like millions of people used to actually engage the propaganda.
But why are those? What's the impact to independent contracting not being able to unionize?
Yeah, that's like a bunch of unionized people are contractors. The proactive.
What evidence says that a bunch of independent contractors are unions? Like you have not made a claim that independent contractors are the key instrument to solving domestic unions.
No. One, we'll make like I'm like confused what this question is.
It's fine.
Like it's a disaster for workforces among other
Okay, that's
things. Like,
fine.
there's also other
A-spec
reasons.
first argument. Why is it arbitrary?
Oh, why is A-spec arbitrary? Yeah, there's an infinite level that AF could specify. We can specify the USFG, our branch, the agency that carries the
Okay.
plan out, infinite reasons.
Why is
makes it
resolutional
impossible.
basis good?
Resolutional basis for the AF is good. The resolution says USFG. We should not have to spell it.
stop 652. Semicolon. It's an order. I'll wait for it. Everybody here, the order is T taxes, Danish counterplan, court curbing, anarchism, psycho, base bag, right to work, advantage. I'll get it all together.
That the union one or the hedge one?
The hedge one is not the.
Okay, okay.
It's each order is T taxes, advantage counterplan, court curbing, anarchism, psycho, base bet, advantage.
Where was ASPEC?
After psycho, before the advantage.
Yep. We both it off.
Here we go. Okay. Topical aspects include both taxation and spending that's perennial. They don't mandate tax to impacts one limits or infinite transfer, only have just guarantee for any type of worker basic incomes for anyone, and thousands of minute social security expansions like privatization, any increasing any benefit like healthcare, disability, and enrollment for any demographic not currently included, like immigrants and young people, plus the app can clarify tons of funding streams like MMT, deficit spending, or sovereign money, creating an untenable prep burden because it can claim advantages off that funding stream, only forcing a linkage between taxes and spending solves. 2. Ground most opposition to redistribution is based on the economic cost of taxes and the political cost of targeting high earners. We meet because we tax later is nonsense. 1 affects T, they're not a mandate of the plan that was lit off limits. They can read any process counterplan as their app and say they result in fiscal redistribution down the line, and it kills ground. They can consult lawmakers or business people to no link politics or econ. 2, it's wrong. The debt ceiling keeps getting raised, disproving inevitable paybacks through taxation. Reappropriating dollars that have already been collected also isn't fiscal redistribution. Any policy that is fiscal redistribution must affect both the primary distribution of income through new transfers and the secondary distribution through new taxes. It's perennial evidence. Let me be explicitly clear about our interp. It is that fiscal redistribution requires a new policy of both taxation and spending. We get to clarify what our interp means, so no we meet pushing the 1AR. If they think that our interp is bad, then they can beat it with a counter interp. Context and vacuum is bad. 1, any app becomes topical, links the entire limits to add. 2, forces every 2 in order to be T and Ks. In a possible burden for the hardest and most time-pressed speech and debate. 3, it allows app shiftiness and 2, AC spikes of impact turns and disads. 4, no offense. This should get better at answering cross-ex questions and cut better advantages that don't lose to positional competition. Counter interp, 1, at least to our offense, blows lid off transfer mechanisms and avoids the controversy and economic consequences of increasing taxes that are key to net ground on this topic. 2, precision disaster, allowing the app to be either taxes or transfers. Makes no sense because the resolution requires 1 of 3 mechanisms, all of which are only transfers. Their interp cannot guide a year of debate because it doesn't fit the resolution's construction because it's incoherent to say that a jobs guarantee is only a tax.
3, resolutional meaning. Increased fiscal redistribution by a JG or BI implies that there are some JGs or BI that are not fiscal redistribution. Giving meaning to the whole res and avoiding redundancy outweighs. Scalia 12. Every word is to be given effect that should be ignored, sometimes meaningless, not have been used. True of legal text, all sensible writing. The terminal position is predictability. One limits turns it. Too many aspects, we can't think of all of them. The community will always come around an interpretation that is more limited. 2, or more predictable. A, precision. Only our F evaluates the process of fiscal redistribution holistically and has intent to distinguish. FR alters both the primary distribution of income by changing tax policy and the secondary distribution, which accounts for transfers. B, plain meaning. Redistribution denotes reallocating the current distribution. We mirror months from no date to alter redistribution. Reallocate to other areas. That outweighs. Garner 12. Ordinary meanings, most fundamental rule of interpretation that governs constitution, statutes, private instruments. Interpretation not to be vague, divine. Hidden meaning. See legal coherence. Transfers only are distribution, not redistribution, and their inter crushes ground. Because transfers without taxes is way less controversial. Holcomb 12. Redistributive policies transfer taxes to tax the upper class funded. Programs distributive policies when governments benefit a certain segment of society without tax on that policy. Distributive policy not controversial. Taxpayers not being asked fund another segment's lifestyle. No PICS offense. One linkage key warrants. New PICS. Apps like carbon dividends, VAT tax, and payroll tax for Social Security always have a reason why both taxing and transferring is key. 2. Those debates are inevitable. What is easy for apps to defend why taxing is not key to solvency. While it's impossible for the neg to garner offense from the app not doing a tax. 3 PICS. If they're egregious, they'll lose the theory. Judges are usually coaches and don't want to deal with neg terror. 4 PICS are good. They prompt in-depth mechanism debates and research. The state's offense taxes their own deficit states because states are bad at collecting them, and there's substantive disincentive of doing so, like capital flight, investor panic, and transfers only doesn't solve. States can fee out removal of BBAs or print money. They also can be democracy, hedge, or U.S. legitimacy advantages that states can't solve. 2 neg ground outweighs. They speak first and last and have infinite prep and we're forced to be reactionary. Yes, neg offense more than 2 apps. That was above. Functional limits are a joke. Politics. Their apps are so small that lawmakers don't care, and links rely on taxes. That was above. Case with the framework and extinction outweighs and get linked, turn, and permed by every transfers only app. The econ dissent requires taxes to be readable. The majority of the lit base is opposed to the resolution because of the cost it entails. Inflation and deficit spending this has are so non-unique that they're unwinnable. Advantage counterplan. Advantage counterplan solves the impacts to advantage 2 while avoiding hedge bad. Plank 1, the PRO Act solves union strength. Their internal link is fear of termination during strikes. That's the Gustala evidence. The PRO Act literally bans permanently replacing striking workers. That's the Reinhardt evidence. We've conceded that fear of termination is a key internal link, so they can't go for other things that the PRO Act is bad for. But it's also wrong. PRO Act fails with a bunch of buzzwords without a warrant for why anything collapses unions. At most, you have a warrant about why it's bad for independent contractors, but no card that says that's key to unionization broadly. That means we solve democracy. Plank 2 bans unsustainable agriculture. Means we solve the internal links to security of U.S. exports. Banning would cause industry adaptation, which means we solve sustainable practices that they solve as well. Plank 3 increases the inspection capacity of the FDA to monitor at the border. The deficit is fake. None of their evidence says that JG is key, but rather that a JG is one way to solve FDA staffing, which is key. That's the Hong evidence, which we've inserted in the 1 and C plank. The plank specifies that funding is specifically for more inspectors, so we solve the staffing key internal link. We agree only the counterplan, so only the plan solves the hedge scenario, but that means we don't get out of it. No permanent counterplan, it severs the entire raft. Unpredictable moving target, multiple counterplans aren't a voter, they're justified by condo, and we can't kick individual planks, preserves fairness for the 2AC, and means no neg terror. Both perm do any combo of planks and perm do both link to the hedge term because they solve secular stagnation. Condo, we didn't know 2 and C counterplans are kicking planks. 1 flex, kick counterplans are key. Fiscal redistribution is nebulous, requiring multifaceted testing. Ask stand by the best offense to the 2AC. First and last speech, prep advantages and vague plans. 2 logic. Condo bad is an unpredictable, non-resolutional interp that denies the negative status quo, which should always remain a logical option. Arbitrary rules are worse than no rules. Allowing the apps to unilaterally to redraw the bounds to every debate, displacing substance. Will explicitly concede arbitrariness from A-spec means that they cannot go for non-resolutional arbitrary theory. If they try to say that there's only resolution for the app, the neg resolution is the opposite of the res. The United States federal government should not increase fiscal redistribution. 3 innovation. Fallback shots encourage new arguments, turning research for info processing. Hard one to see force 2AC efficiency, best answers, fostering critical thinking. Now defense 1, diminishing utility, adding more absentee speaks of value to their liabilities. 2 skew inevitable. T descent speed, highlighted framework case, reject expo. 1 consensus on the definition, there is none. 2 force perms, process counterplans, world peace planks. 3 cancel flex. 2AC dictates the block. 4 research inevitable. If the change is best argument, the 2AC will always go for it, and turning dissent solves. 5 refinement, condo drives teams to find a needle in a haystack. 1AC that beats generics, and to research more straight turns. 6 dispo 2C counterplans evade their offense. Evidence illogical. It forces the judge to vote for a world worse than status quo, which turns predictability. Court curbing, concede the perm, assess competition, reject the argument, not the team. Anarchism the same, psycho the same. A-spec, concede arbitrariness means no non-res theory in the 1AR. Rhetoric and unions are high now. 1 political will. Biden's been advocating for them. 2 profits. They've been rising so companies can afford them. 3 COVID. Workers have reconsidered priorities, demanding more. The threshold is low. Each current win is galvanizing and generates cascading momentum. That's Colgan. Their evidence doesn't cite any new developments. They contribute to low unionization. If anything, things like auto worker strikes prove that things have improved for labor since our card was written. But we'll concede the fear of being fired is the key internal link means the counterplan solves democracy. Of course, our evidence assumes democracy versus authoritarianism. It is a meta-analysis of literally 8,000 studies that suggest democracies are not more peaceful or cooperative. The best explanations are not democracy, but rather borders to other states, economic development, and formal alliances. The above field is literally not a study at all. It just is purely speculative and says that democracy is really good, and it doesn't control for any of those other things, which is the actual confounding variables for why states are more cooperative. There's no aggregatory scenario. One, they can't tell if internationally. There's no one you see evidence that says the U.S. are the only ones who would get targeted. Even if they look at the U.S. borders, other countries are still subject to agri-terrorism, which they dropped in the 2AC. Two, agri-terror is overstated by journalists. There's counters, natural selection, and virulence contagion trade-off that makes creating bioterror impossible. Yes, Binker, Islands check, global spread, Osborne 19. In a pandemic, Australia, New Zealand, be safe haven, seeming to divide, repopulate, is a close sufficient island, could harbor an isolated technologically adept population. The food wars. Food scenario is bunk. One, there's no impact. They're causing nor the best research and basic reasoning. War is costly, and there's no correlation. And even if local skirmishes arise, great powers won't join the fray. That's Salahan. If you're hungry, how are you fighting? Salahan 14. Conflict declines during scarcity. Groups need food to maintain army and find more difficult to sustain their operations under distress. 2, the U.S. is not key. Schlesinger evidence says that the U.S. only makes up less than 10% of global food exports. And in context of countries that are at risk of food insecurity, the U.S. only makes up 2% of their exports. Their own evidence says that the U.S. is only key for developing countries which want to go nuclear. If they put this card in the dock, you're voting no because it says nothing. Rich nuclear armed states will always be able to coerce food for themselves anyway without relying on nuclear weapons. Even if they do use a nuclear weapon to get food, they will never nuke another nuclear country. That's profoundly irrational and means that there's no nuclear escalation or extinction for their scenario. Cossacks failed to articulate a single scenario for war. They went from every nuclear country to every nuclear country in the Middle East to a bunch of other countries that obviously don't have nukes, which means there's a scenario. Bioterror, another card. DIY biology is hard. It takes weeks to learn the pipette. Jefferson et al. 14. Researchers are struggling to find with every state's infrastructure machinery. An organization required planes are built from well-characterized parts. This does not mean that the people able to plan, make it fly, and use it. Experiment cycles of sobering minor foundations are not stable, but experiments that work engineering and whatnot does not guarantee the same result in another DIY biologist. Noted challenge. Mark the card at noted the challenge. I'm good.
Okay, T-taxis. Did you make like an impact argument between debatability and predictability, or do both matter?
I mean, they both matter to some extent, but we think limits turns predictability.
Okay, so limits turns.
Limits is the most important input. Yes.
Okay, sure. What ground do we deny you?
Good econ disads and good politics disads.
Say good econ dissent. Why?
Because the links to econ, most grounded in the literature, reflect the cost of doing the plan. Most people that talk about why jobs guarantee are bad, at some point in the article as the primary reason for why it's bad, talk about the fact that you have to tax a ton in order to fund it. And
Sure.
Politics, Republicans hate taxes. They're generally fine with deficit spending. They pass deficit spending bills all
Okay,
the
so
time.
you don't think there's any way like an FJG could be bad? Inflation dissent, they would hate like.
Inflation is
welfare
like not
state.
good. I mean, I
Okay,
said
so
that
like, no,
explicitly. The inflation dissent is
Sure.
no good.
Let's go to plain meaning. How do we determine the plain meaning of something absent the limit?
Well, I mean, we can use dictionary definitions. We've read a dictionary that says
Okay, like,
redistribution,
what's the standard for plain meaning?
whether or not it's reflective of common understandings of the word.
Okay, why is Merriam-Webster reflective of common understandings of
Because
the word?
people look up words in dictionaries before they go to opaque law journals.
Sure, your Merriam-Webster card lists 2 different definitions. Which one is more plain meaning, predictable?
I mean, both of them are good. Both of them
The
are
second
good.
one is spread to other areas.
Yeah,
Like,
it's spread
that
to
even-
other areas that is not currently spread to.
So,
both of them are good.
Increasing fiscal redistribution is just spreading fiscal redistribution to another area.
Well,
That
no,
limits out the
no,
F
no.
and Y.
Well, no, it's like redistribution, no, it's a give and take, right? Like you take from the current distribution through taxes, you redistribute it to new areas.
Yeah,
That's
I'm asking-
different from distribution, which would be purely a transfer.
No, that's not my question. I was asking you why we should prefer the first definition
Because
over the
it-
second.
Well, both definitions are fine for plain meaning. Both definitions in this dictionary card are okay.
Okay, yeah, let's go to AF ground. What AFs do we add?
Well, I mean, a ton. Like you can look at all
yeah,
these
just
fucking,
like list them.
FTT, URAF that you read a little bit ago.
Okay,
in
we add the FTT AF.
Oh no, not FTT. I mean like sovereign money, MMT AFs, deficit spending
Sovereign
good.
money,
Yeah.
MMT. So only deficit spending AFs.
Well, I mean those aren't deficit spending. MMT is money printing, and sovereign money is kind of a.
Okay, what part of our
Money
interpreting justifies AFs that spec their funding source if they're not taxes?
Because you say either taxes or transfers.
Yeah, so we can
transfers
get
are all
transfer.
of those things.
What part of our interpreting lets us spec? Like,
Because it's a transfer. MMT is a system of transfer.
okay, so your limits argument is only based on the fact that we get to spec other funding sources.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of it. We also think that linkage key warrants limit out other apps. that are
Linkage
bad.
key, which AFs do you think have a linkage key warrant?
Carbon dividends, VAT tax AF, the INVAT AF.
The NVAT AF?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a bunch
Your
of
AF is pretty good.
just a bunch of fake ones.
I mean,
I
no.
think y'all's are pretty good.
I think the VAT AF is pretty good. That has some good.
Think of that AF. Okay, that's nice.
Okay, we're on our set.
It's just a dead one. looking at journey causes like first is miscalculate the only scenario for China will requirements to dramatically increase like the Chinese military actions out of insecurity basically will accelerate their military spending matching with two cooperation and state enables peaceful coexistence with China like cooperation for linear excellence transforming proof and sort of that's Wayne in turns case is the Marcus Street 18. Democracy finds looking at mission statement Marcus Utilize like capital and we can just political directors how do you ban on our amount of question and third is apparent and need to be the over the 50 comes in colonial Marcus Rush 30 liberation movement support tyranny Egypt Guatemala Russian lastly out of face and election and dollars and nations B is bow terror China called key MD stepping house of global outbreaks Phil Shorty. The U.S. China responsibility to ensure health security of the stores, infrastructure surveillance and actions provided daily winning, rapid economic deal, big government partnership, and time child disease, no need to rebuild mutual specialization of China, reduce that MD deal together, and get best be overcome. 2 easy 1, no link is wrong. 1 easy Oppenheimer says the U.S. hedge collapse in the plan. 2 easy 2 1. Hostage not saying the U.S. partners philosophy use China cooperation about general global governance cannot solve our specific internally. 2 only restraints for U.S. statecraft to manage global events. Where I'm going to do. Motor change essentially referring U.S. American to one matter of checking the convention and structure, and we're seeing tracking global social and economic and everybody goes to by U.S. addressing globalization, which is best rather than innovation. Heavy competition between engagement China US relation instruction and competition time restoration the networks in mitigate pandemic reserving accountable and what is the goals of the Western Amnesty new global goods enormous cost and aspect of domestic rebels tackle go up through US permission to global public goods to the sham tax relief. The idea that had to variable running global goods to declining US is no longer hegemony sure guys putting a cutting awarding global effort and these global operations of competition federation will be work global goods and we are to cooperate with no single hundred on the US no longer strong there's enough to bear words and providing some police not ratifying opportunity of introduced aka as a GAD rules that short term conversation on the independence of the so that takes out the impact and also not burn 2C3 winning other state but was not allow that no and like the plan recommits US to hedge by saving the rest of it that does not mean they can concede other state but it was no league 3C4 pursuing inevitable one average league outweighs they said that slow growth makes it even impossible we conceded no take back sliding the make defense of the internally in the 2C voter African nationality and classification Oppenheimer explicitly says that the retrenchment now are inserted for reference to restraint as possible Brothers 22 military options the current war terror of the United States war hawks retain to believe in the waters rolling in their national operation that can no college powers working great concerned is one which new paths given a possible return more build organized like that anytime years of war terror still first America's highway Paul Americans favorite foreign policy regime in the mayor rancher proves to be a favorable arbitrary that post states right opens by 3 years 365 hedges on state of one war means vote because takes out impact means one of the overshots US engages 2D and theaters of war races are sure to then the sustain the straight solve that so we have 2 self-fulfilling prophecy channel react US prophecy more and military spending making total dominance on the table last year percent it takes out their sustainability turn on the only internally is that having a strong domestic base means you can spend more military but every time they spend $1 China spends $1.50 drop the 2C3 multiplier multiplier we're studying about what is possible to what is on and British special companies like the brown use of the nuclear and included seven of London says wars in Iraq and Afghanistan for regimes and let the film states of the Russian element and the China will never agree to several empires buying straight banks that give you so many pricing on a small thing there I was going to you know yes down for ready but big sense we know charges of vast in glorious and what natural is with it and great power set up for makes slow China right on independence of all the company and Robert and Neville will greater thing that will go to encourage movie wave and singing hard power competition and greater diplomacy I can very wrong is wrong it's aspirational besting those real material issues with the hedge that doom it the hedge 2C5 no hedge impact 1 sustainability takes out we can't determine if we like the resources to do 2 hedge without solve board if it's making a zero correlation with peace and counterfactuals like African Latin America previous dominance not invincibility democracy independence and norms better explain peace in your cognitive decline to fight the US influence because existentials and ego-centered advice that's about wise evidence 3 diplomacy causes severe influence status and now locking grade 20 Data driven states that seek private status pursues China's largest and ground force one on the ability rapidly argument there seems to have cost which Chinese experience status that has been good we difficult way to American movement for business and clear strategy of company tactics and new military activities in hopes of America like one must be what questionable value for democracy attends to great relation to pharmacy and logging this was in expensive hearts which may reverse it forward of transition wars A begs the question to pursue the inevitable we don't claim that we will not go to war with them B slow growth solves transition wars legal rationally calculate the cost of minutes of clinging to their status and indeed this transition is inevitable meaning they will not challenge rising to about tally fair evidence drop in the 2C6 they cannot solve China a war China's not revision that will be below yes impact or does not to miscalculate what is makes war much likely to only happen to their heads and that's Wayne and Bezos with you if the U.S. fails to recognize China's status as a global and Iraq commitment to privacy and internal competition U.S. sort of competition set of engaged the U.S. must abandon privacy to vote to the U.S. competition that will retain from external and economy and Islamic Iraq war ground of the U.S. sector privacy U.S. and China will not be on a coalition course of the U.S. Policy driven by privacy mutual recognition says well the vote nuclear war revisionism is wrong A is empiric China has abided by international norms on free trade and freedom of navigation and peaceful resolution disputes and curbing revisionist motive that's Swain and McKinney evidence disproves their even leaders have made claims about seeking primacy and not actually challenged the world order B is capable of neither the capacity nor will to displace U.S. with you. Failing of act and hegemony come to invasion, please. China again the next hegemony of China wants to place America and hegemony to so even if China's old but country, China will more land mark China's neighbor over cities never saw the global China's on fought water around 50 years and as a fuels all overseas base American alliance in regards blaming hegemony steps to contain China. See China gonna be reversed in this massive divisive crisis like pollution, aging and resource scarcity means they are only not focused on foreign policy. That's Wayne even they want China broadly revision those prioritize domestic issue first the risk of the arbitrary space and does not sacrifice deterrence by God on 18. So the powers committee through Bruce of also deterrence state efforts along and started here as a strong point when capable to concentrate your power to model provocation during a strength.
Mark McDonald is straight.
958. voters the right to jobs advantage, which is advantage 2. Advantage counterplan. Keep taxes. Then advantage 1, the hedge turn. Cool. MBA.
Yeah.
Go over here.
Give me a second. Okay, cool.
Concede impact defects not going for this advantage takes out turns case on the hedge turn. Advantage counterplan only solves advantage 2, not relevant. T. Concede debatability that whereas going for debatability, fiscal redistribution can be tax or transfer, does not require bonus suggestion evidence. Impact is after ground. Concede debatability, which means predictability is not relevant. Tax or transfer is outweighed and triple loss of negative pick out of either the tax portion or the transfer portion of the app, which is literally untenable. The one he sees is pitted against a 30-minute block against a 4-minute one he can just choose is forced to read 4 minutes of tax advantage, 4 minutes of transfer advantage. The next luxury choose debate with literally just half of the app, which is untenable. And we can never garner reciprocal amounts of offense against a pick in the block, which is untenable. They say linkage key, depending linkage is functionally impossible. It does not exist. All linkage apps are either fake or easily gets off by pick or plus advantage counterplan playing sports MBA too. The given cases without saying carbon dividend, they can say no because no one reads carbon anyway because it loses to picks all the time, which is empirical proof that linkage key is fake. They say inevitable, wrong. This is non-starter or often specific to tracks and transfer picks anyway. After it solves the case specific picks, the general topic picks are readable because it's possible to make your entire app defense of the Fed but also by linkage key. They say theory A wrong, push better picks are not a topical mandates of the plan are always considered good by most searches. B generic because theory is unworkable. Since the definition of a pick is too bad, arbitrary we can never go for it in a debate. They say picks are good. One pick requires no research teams just pick out a voice apart without reading evidence, so which proves it does not require research under their interpretation. So, 2 different ways precludes the possibility of research happening and being effective in the first place. 3, they can read other types of picks. We're reading our interpretation is only about the picks out of the tax or transfer picks, which is different. Now prefer app ground 1 question turn links. We had 2 apps on already massively neck biased topic. The content this app policies has Jason at the time, but nobody thinks app is a good idea. Plus, we always have to defend what we're saying. Guarantee the linked variety of apps means it can be we make being next slightly harder, but then make app impossible. 2 topic bias. Now I can is a 59% win rate. Elon rounds means making the topic slightly worse than negative. It's a good thing. Limits wrong. Missing himself us. Other two arguments. Specifying plenty streams is not topical. Function limit solved. Smaller topics love for in-depth or negative arguments. Read the Biscon disad or other econ disads like deficit spending. Also joke. Consider sideway for econ disad. All of Greenho in the round robin, or just go for politics ground again. Function limit solved. Inflation disad is not non-unique. You can read a threshold argument that's coming now. Read links about hyperinflation, or go for other types of econ disads. Predictability, plain meaning, infinitely arbitrary. I've always says counterexamples. FR is a basket of goods. Increases one of those goods. Just was great research study. That's the tax and transfers are 2 different vehicles for relevant conceded debatability, solved predictability. Hedge. Hegemony is good because he linked to hegemony. Also, see that Oppenheimer has evidence as a hegemony, and specifically stagnation causes a lack of multipolarity, which is key to solve climate change, inequality, terrorism, epidemics, etc. Which means that independent U.S. leadership working with other countries is a good idea. Which means it's not just hegemony impact, launch list, other impacts are all less essential. Which they can see to come out of the block. Now, 2C2 restraint is not inevitable. Pursuit will be inevitable. The truth where evidence says most of the population wants to do it, which means the military will be forced to listen to protest. The broader evidence just as fast or possible, not that it's likely or guaranteed, which is the threshold necessary to win this argument. Now, card dump. The pursuit is inevitable. 1 is rhetoric. Sunshine and boarding post. 23 is made it clear. His administration is ready. He expects competition between countries. His countries which are trying to upgrade consolidation with its allies. And 2 is policies. Biden wants to crush China. Rogan 22 is some Biden officials that were struck by how determined BJ has become. MBA Chinese strategy to detention. Others in the Biden among citizens remember this. Here will be internal fights. Spiriting people using strategy go to conventional military risking ourselves along with their allies. Both parties for the US government to pursue tougher approach to China post show. 3 is structural constraints. Jacobson 22. Structural constraints are more churches don't know actually maximum facilities because maximum space will come to the so really go back there if activities such as art, but such as available in America. Ninjas overwhelming opponents on academic capabilities, maybe way past the ship by power faces overwhelming obstacles. Martha had overwhelming obstacles. Brader card is we read green. And Paul Bennett's directed nuclear warhawks calls for no fly zone because of like just like myself. Etc. proves it's all inevitable. Apparently I guess nothing in necessary retrenchment from random hospitals. Now they're willing to concede the world that China transition wars caused extinction. Directly 18. Their persistent case of resolve for challenges of carnage, warfare, everybody is married, but competition hold image rightly, which possible words push to the big over again, and where 3 extinction word possible since you send up the drive of the wood. And has been peaceful. Martha Carter, peaceful. They say the overstretched no relevant assholes to cooperate with our allies, which is past evidence which proves that there is no link. Regard to stagnation impact, not hegemony impact, so we still access the benefits of stagnation, multiplicarity, inevitable. 1, straight turn it with the must at the has evidence. 2, hedge stalls, Mass R17, for constance 2, emergent and Europe, with cooperation power, and possible rules where these have been absent, possible possible the conditions, constant resistance with power, this change which has been transfer power to challenge primacy, possible reaching our challenge to norms, aggression, and navigation for consumer powers, seems to be opportunistic rather than fear, as the form of our concert are, the movement is feeling, because such which return hopes of the concert could be destabilizing. Now, the impact bomber, with this another top, the says now stuff, no question of revisionism, which they will not win, China's on revisionist, so they say it in liberal rhetoric, but not actually do anything. Empirics are true, SES, Taiwan, etc. We prove that there are revisionists and debate in other countries' capabilities, a relevant question of motive, which proves that there will not be satisfied now. Now, primacy solves actually no China war, the drop wars are strategic. It's not strategic for both countries because economic impact and mad takes certain impact, but not ours. No risk of China war, ships in 19, US and China, diplomatic interactions, interests, and failures of exploded and investigating against a generally cooperative backdrop of company and nuclear postures, so it's easier, more stable. Mark that last part at more stable.
Difference to 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, 6 with 2.
pretty good.
They have lost the debate. There's a couple of things you know in making your decision. First, you know that hegemony is unsustainable because it conceded. One in our wars that were dropped in the 1AR. 2, they have no external offensive hegemony, while we do, and we largely resolve theirs. And 3, you know that slow growth means no transition wars, and that clinging is not inevitable. They conceded the miscalculation impact. They conceded a uniqueness question that China's broadly focused on domestic issues. They're focused on a bad economy and an Asian crisis domestically, which means that they are not focused on foreign theaters now. And there's only a risk that the United States' aggressive foreign policy is able to draw their attention away from domestic crises towards foreign theaters. That causes irrational nuclear escalation out of fear. That circumvents their defense. It's about mutually assured destruction because it is irrational escalation based on desperation rather than rational escalation based on power grabs. The only offense they extended was cooperation. There's no warrant for why hegemony allows cooperation. Don't let the 2AR stand up and give you any other new reasons. 2AR decisions to rely on 1AR mistakes. International cooperation is not a hedge good impact anyway. 1, restraint is better for cooperation. 1AR works since pursuing hegemony would cost so much and generate so much risk that it would tube any international cooperation. And 2 is hegemony cannot solve. Sachs says the U.S. is horrible at international cooperation. They neglect their role in almost every treaty and especially the UN, but multipolarity solves it. Dropped in the 1AR. Any half-guard about hedge being good for cooperation operates under the assumption that the U.S. is willing and capable to lead cooperation. Sachs is the only card that describes what they are actually doing, which is exactly the opposite. U.S.-China cooperation accesses their terminals much better. 1 is he Swain and 1 in our best nerds say that the only way for the world to solve compounding crises is for the U.S. and China to cooperate, which is precluded by primacy. That means we access their impacts better than they do. They conceded a terminal of proliferation from U.S.-China cooperation is key to containing outputs of prolif, which circumvent mutually assured destruction, communication failure. Communication failure and use them or lose them pressures. The sustainability debate. They conceded self-fulfilling prophecy. For every dollar the United States spends on military spending, China spends $1.50. Means that every attempt we make to entrench our hegemonic advantage actually digs us in a deeper and deeper hole. They conceded the Oppenheimer re-highlight, which says that the plan recommits to a policy of hegemony that the United States has been abandoning for years. It means that when we do that, China will counterbalance with increased spending for their military, meaning that hegemony is unsustainable. The pursuit is not inevitable. They conceded too many things to go for this. Conceded the Oppenheimer re-highlight, which is the last several United States presidential administrations have all favored a foreign policy of retrenchment. Obama, Trump, Biden, all pulling troops from respective areas and favoring withdrawing troops from withdrawing the number of military bases that we have on over foreign seas. The core state extended are really, really bad. Most of the population why hegemony is wrong. The broader evidence is new. It incites polls of the population that says most people prefer a foreign policy of retrenchment. The China Morning Post card is a fungus card from the China Morning Post that says that Biden is bad, but it also doesn't say that Biden is trying to pursue primacy over China, so they can't go for this. The Rogan evidence also doesn't say that Biden is trying to pursue primacy. Plus, we highlighted their 1AC evidence says that Biden is actively not, and we can see the empiric of Ukraine or of Afghanistan, which proves that Biden is pulling out of regions that we were previously stretched in. The structural constraints Jackson evidence is a general theory of international relations, not specific to U.S. retrenchment, but it doesn't matter because it marched way too early for a warrant. They have also conceded the slow growth evidence from the 1NC. We read this in the 1NC. 2AC dropped it, 1AR dropped it. No new 2AR answers. The Telefero evidence is fantastic. It says that any period of slow growth, the United States leaders will rationally assess our situation and see that transition is inevitable because our domestic base is being eroded rather than violently clinging. When we conclude the transition inevitable, we would rather transition to a peaceful international society based around cooperation rather than violence. That's the Telefero evidence. We've conceded their uniqueness claim that slow growth is coming now, which means that slow growth will force a peaceful transition to multipolarity. The China stuff, they can't go for this. When they conceded the miscalc impact which access to China war better, but China revisionism, it's a blip in the 1AR. SES Taiwan are not empirics for you because China has not empirically acted aggressively in any region nor instigated an invasion in any other region. The 1AR was very light and did not explain exactly what China has done wrong in them. But if you prefer empirics, they conceded some of ours. They conceded freedom of navigation. China has upheld. They've upheld trade, international norms on trade, and they've been generally peaceful for decades. They have not started a war in 50 years, whereas the United States has been an aggressive, veritable war-making machine. And they also conceded domestic crises. China is focused on an aging population and an economy in the shitter right now. This is Swain evidence means that they do not have the means to focus on foreign theaters. That's a key uniqueness question for the war debate because it means that they're not going to be able to focus on aggressive expansion or otherwise aggressive foreign policy because they're distracted by domestic issues, which means there's only a risk that the plan makes it worse by upsetting that balance and provoking China out of its domestic slumber. No uniqueness for their offense, but uniqueness for ours. It means that China war only flows our direction. Conceding self-fulfilling prophecy means that they can never hold on to hegemony. It means no hedge good impact. Oh yeah.
Also functionally conceded the green evidence. Their China bad push relies on revisionism as a vacuum, which is wrong. Green says that countries that appear to be revisionist are rather informed by theory of status denial. The United States denying them their status on the global stage is what might provoke China into an aggressive foreign policy. They're not motivated by pure power or land grabs, but rather the desire to be recognized, which only the plan denies.
Or 25.
says that United States' pursuit of hegemony is structurally inevitable, which means it's try or die to maximize that effectiveness and avoid transition wars emergent, SOIs and proliferation in all aspects to extinction. This just means there's no risk of the multipolarity or miscalculation. Evidence in MBA goes where they can win that China rise would be good, they can win that multipolarity would be good, but our offense structurally outweighs because transition to that point will always fail. Also means we outweigh in time frame because transition failures comes before any of their impact. Now the impact of it proper hedge is good coding, and Oppenheimer says that a strong U.S. military contains countries from racing on drop via fierce and strong U.S. assuages allies which stops quicksilver proliferation that goes nuclear. Remember that this is not a hedge good bad, but the turn around the economic adventure flow inside practically drops. Other impacts. Oppenheimer says that the hedge enables international cooperation, solves news, Luke's WMD, climate change, inequality, nationalism, populism, all explicitly flagged in the 1 year drop in the turn by reading hedge by this spotted as the full weight of Oppenheimer. The problem is that this is a stagnation impact as well as a hedge impact, which they have no defense to declining growth ensures the collapse of arms control, etc. Now, the miscalculation impact at the top one, it is framed in by uniqueness. We have read a litany of cards of Biden will always try to contain China. We will always make aggressive policy, aggressive trade policies, aggressive tariffs, launching the Navy in China's areas to prove that this sort of miscalculation is inevitable in the long run because the U.S. will always try to contain China, which takes on all impact uniqueness for their term, but does not take on the app itself. They say China is only focused on domestic theaters. One, this is structurally incorrect. I'll do more in the revisions, but the Lenzi card is really, really good. Says things like China bullying the SES, bullying Taiwan, releasing the 9-line map which sort of frames territory, territorial claims to other issues that inevitably draws the U.S. in because we have alliances with places like Japan, Taiwan, which means that they're focused on theaters. The U.S. is also, which makes it inevitable, and they also dropped the Thornton card. Now they also dropped the top level claim that there's no impact. In the 2 hour silently answer this for about 10 seconds. The Thornton card says that all institutions have a stake in preventing escalation between the U.S. and China. Leaders won't want to actually do it because of economic interdependence, because of mutually assured destruction, because there's no risk of a sort of U.S.-China escalation. Now they say foreign policy draws attention away. This is untrue. Dropped it. It's stumped by the last 20 years of aggression impact, which should have caused the irrational action, which is all in the Oppenheimer and chronic evidence. They say they say we only extended cooperation one, just not true. Other impacts extended to the top two. We have straight into sort of multipolarity offense they go to, which I'll go to now. The multipolarity stuff makes negative sense. The Mazar card says the multipolarity is structurally unsustainable. A collapse of U.S. hedge causes escalating spheres of influence that cause multipolarity to break down because everybody just goes into war. The framing is low because the collapse of U.S. hedge causes immediate proliferation that breaks down barriers to cooperation. They say multipolarity solves it. The Haas evidence is the best card here dropped with Haas and Eichenberg. Hegemony allows effective cooperation, effective partnerships with other countries, which means we solve multipolarity, but the inverse is not true. The Sachs card is wrong. Eichenberg says the world has united around U.S. hegemony and is effectively partnering with the U.S., which means that the U.S. is solving multipolarity now through institutions like the WTO, through NATO, which means the affirmative solves best. The proliferation impact is just an extension of multipolarity, which we have impacted. Also, hedge collapse is the far greater internal link because countries are primarily motivated by security dilemmas. Now go to the retrenchment, go to the pursue inevitable debate. We are just much better here. We have extended cards from Biden himself that say he will always want to crush China. You should prefer that over random cards speculating over what Biden might do. I'll go down every card they list. They say Oppenheimer says administration favor retrenchment. That is untrue, especially when we read evidence from this administration that says they did not favor retrenchment. The frame for this debate is that pulling out of one random war like Afghanistan or removing one base is not the same thing as ceding the entire world to China, which is what MBA wants you to believe. It's obviously illogical. The second card is polls, but the right card and the Rogan card says that 70% of the US population wants to contain China, and that view is reflected in leaders. Now their only way out is this logo debate. The Telfer evidence does not say anything. It assumes they're winning sustainability. It says changes happen when one power perceives the change is inevitable. All our evidence is that the leaders do not think that's also answered on Oppenheimer, especially the Eichenberg card that says sustainability is flowing after truth. There's no reason. It's also drop the slow growth would cause a light transition. This was done on the Oppenheimer flow where it says, quote, slow growth would cause them to retrench from random theaters like Afghanistan, but not full-scale surrender to China, especially given officials don't want to do that. Now, this sustainability debate, self-fulfilling prophecy makes negative sense. Drop Eichenberg, and this was everything the 1 year did on cooperation, geography, alliances, proves that regardless of military spending that we have more, but they also have to concede Oppenheimer to get the evidence shown that relative GDP is the greatest predictor because even if China spends money matching the US, we functionally have a stronger economy, we have more money, which means you can always outspend them and ensure sustainability, which means because they have to concede the internal link to get the turn, the counterbalancing turn is wrong. Revisionism was done at the top. The Lenzi card is really specific to China is revisionist. The only reason they haven't lashed out now is because of hegemony. China's focus on their own theater now is completely wrong because the Lenzi card says that they are claiming territories outside the area which will inevitably draw the US in, but those things don't escalate anyway because of the impact defense extended on the top. Now the stats analysis is wrong. That was answered by revisionism, but independently if that pursuit's inevitable and external impacts makes it an easy outcome.
Or-
No, you heard what I said.